Welcome to the Peter Gracie Show, the only podcast where we attempt to separate our egos from the real world.
And now, here is your host, the Honorable Peter Gracie.
Facing a lot of new challenges, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing because in this world we tend to give ourselves the credit for being intelligent, but we've never stopped and looked back to realize that that's just a title mankind has been given themselves, by comparing themselves to animals and things like that. It's just a title. The more you know, the more you realize how ignorant you are. But at some point, you have to start shrinking. You have to start going back, and stop thinking that you know too much. Because it can become a dangerous thing. It can hurt you. It can hurt your families. It can hurt business dealing you're in. It can hurt you financially. It can hurt you, economically. It could hurt you emotionally. It can hurt you personally. Sometimes we just have to step back. Just step back. Sometimes you need to be, we just need to be away from everything and just reflect on the person you really portray yourself to be to others. Sometimes you get so caught up in that mask you're wearing, that one personality that you just want to blend yourself in with and never let it go. You can't become who you are. You can't become yourself anymore because you're so caught up in that personality. You forgot who you really was. So the people who had met you for who you really were before you got caught up in that personality, in that mask, those people are going to get hurt. Now you're so embedded over here in this type of personality, this mask that you're wearing that's so hard on your face. Sometimes you just can't take it off. You can't get rid of it. And it just sticks to you, and then you accept it. And once you accept it, you're living a life that you were not meant to live. Because you have no balance. You don't want to send a child in a tree to walk a limb if he has no balance. You want to make sure that he has balance before you send him out in the street so he can focus. So he can focus on what he's supposed to do. But a lot of us learn later in life how certain things work. Now, we've claimed that as black people, we've learned a lot of things like, streetwise and this and that and all that stuff. But that's not enough because you may have been wearing this mask for so long. You forgot who you really were. So now you end up in jail. You call these things bad luck. It's not luck. It's not bad luck, So sometimes we have to just try to slowly remove the mask. And sometimes you remove the mask and you realize that sometimes you remove the mask and then you realize that you were actually wearing a mask before you had put this mask on. And everything you have done was actually in false representation of you. Even through, if you had gotten to some relationship or you were in a marriage or whatever the case is, you realize that all that was false representation. But over time, throughout those false representation, all those different masks or personalities that you were wearing, you have probably, you cause people to be affectionate about you, for you. And in turn, you were so affectionate, you behaved in this emotional manner to complement the feelings of others, and you build families and you build friends and all that, but you're wearing this mask. Finally, it gets to a point where the realization of who you think you are, the life you've been living, the things that you've been doing, finally you're getting a realization of who you really are. Sometimes it can be at a time in your life where you've exhausted everything you've been doing because you missed the opportunity of living you. So now, what do? You just have to play the cards as they come, man. You just have to play the cards as they come. You gotta. This is where the calculation becomes real hard, because when you had the energy to do a lot of things, you did not do it. You missed the whole opportunity to be you. So what I'm saying, man, is take the time sometimes to sit back. Take the time away sometimes to sit back, realize who you are. If you got to ghost on some people, ghost on some people. Sometimes you have to sit back and think about the mask that you're wearing. Is that really you? Or are you trying to fit in? What are you trying to do? What are you really trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? Why are you wearing this mask? It's because it's satisfying you? Well, I understand that the only reason why mankind ever exists, or is the only thing that they can see or they can feel that makes them feel that life is good, is satisfaction. Everyone's here to satisfy themselves. So, but sometimes you satisfy yourself in a personality that does not balance out with who you really are. And then sometimes it's hard to let go. You go broke, you file for bankrupt, this, that, all that stuff, So let's take the time to reflect on who we really are, and let's take the time to focus. Let's take the time to focus. Find a balance. Find a balance. In everything you do, every transaction you do, everything, every decision you decide that's the one that you're actually gonna carry out. Make sure you have balance. Make sure you remember who you are at all times. So give it, who you are should have equal parts of you, or greater. To be in control, you have to be in control yourself. It's like you're smoking some weed or whatever it is that gives you your high. You cannot let it control it. You control you. You have to control it. It's when it gets out of control it becomes a problem, So reflect on yourself, man. Take the time to reflect on yourself. Think about the mask you're wearing and who you really are.
The only podcast where we attempt to separate our egos from the real world.